Well, it's not that hard. All right. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Cuyahoga County Council's regular meeting for Tuesday, May the 14th. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Calling the roll, Mr. Germana.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
Mr. Schron.
Here.
Ms. Conwell.
Present.
Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Rogers.
Here.
Ms. Simon. Here. Ms. Conley. Ms. Conley is absent this evening. Mr. Greenspan.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
And Mr. Brady.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to have a motion to excuse Council President Conley.
I so move.
Been moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ms. Conley is excused. I'm sure she'll appreciate that. Please rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're going to have our usual silent meditation tonight. We're going to have silent meditation for the three women who were held captive and fortunately liberated last week. I think a week that none of us will ever forget. All right. All right, do we have any public comment related to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, yes, we do. Kitty Warshawski.
All right, Ms. Warshawski.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. My name's Kitty Warshawski, and I'm here on behalf of College Now Greater Cleveland, and I just wanted to thank you for considering this evening Resolution 2013-0087 and also Ordinance 02013-0011, benefiting the students of Cuyahoga County. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming down and sharing your comments with us. Now we need to approve the minutes of the April 23rd work session, which is on page 11, and the April 23rd regular meeting on page 13. I have a motion? Moved by Councilman Miller, seconded by Councilman Germana. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Minutes are approved. The only thing I have to say this evening is that we will be having an executive session after the regular meeting on item 16. We'll be having that directly after item 23. I see the county executive is not present, so we will not be hearing a message from the county executive at this time. Moving right ahead on item 9, committee report and consider a motion of council for first reading adoption under suspension of rules.
Mr. President, or Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move to suspend the rules.
Second.
All right. Motion being made by Councilman Gallagher and seconded by Councilman Germana. All those in favor of suspending the rules say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. Rules are suspended. Madam Clerk, would you please read the motion?
Motion number 2013-0017, a motion confirming the county executive's reappointment of Sharon Sobel Jordan to serve on the Metro Health System Board of Trustees and declaring the necessity that this motion become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Conwell.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Rule 9M allows for motions to be sent to the committee going to the committee of the whole for first reading due to the 30-day rule for confirmation of appointments. In this matter of Ms. Jordan being confirmed, it was imperative she was heard in committee because the Metro Health Board was meeting to select a new CEO for the county hospital. Ms. Jordan had previously served on this board for 4 months, and her leadership in the community and the nonprofit arena has been a great asset to Metro Health. So this committee would like to ask everyone to confirm her for reappointment.
Thank you. I understand that this has been signed off by Judge Rousseau and Judge McConigal, according to the ORC. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of this appointment, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes having it. Motion is adopted. Item 10, consider the motions of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Motion number 2013-0018, a motion confirming the county executive's appointment of Mayor Vic Kalova to represent the Chagrin Southeast region to serve on the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission and declaring the necessity that this motion become immediately effective.
This will go to HR.
Motion number 2013-0019, a motion confirming the county executive's appointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga County Community Improvement Corporation Board of Trustees and declaring the necessity that this motion become immediately effective. The individuals are listed on the agenda as items 10B 1 through 9.
Go to HR as well. Item 10.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I missed one here.
Motion C, I'm sorry.
Motion number 2013-0020, a motion confirming the county executive's reappointment of Karen Gabriel Moss to serve on the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority Board of Trustees and declaring the necessity that this motion become immediately effective.
And this will go to HR as well. Item number 11, committee report and consideration of motion for council for second reading adoption under suspension of the rules.
Chairman, I move we suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion being moved and seconded. All those in favor of suspending the rules say aye. Aye. Clerk, please read the.
Motion number 2013-0016, a motion confirming the county executive's appointment of various individuals to serve on the Cleveland-Cuyahoga County Workforce Investment Board and declaring the necessity that this motion become immediately effective. The individuals are Bill Kitson and Kim M. Shelnick.
Second.
Motion being moved and seconded. Councilwoman Conwell.
Chair, this committee recommends confirmation of Mr. Kitson and Mrs. Shelnick for the Workforce Investment Board. And what I liked that came out of the committee when both of them attended was we have a lot of youth that would like to participate in some of these boards, not being a voting member, but would like to sit on boards that are pertaining to their future, and they were both in agreement if something like that should come about.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion is adopted. And now we have a next motion is item number 12. Consideration of resolutions for council for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution number 2013-0086, a resolution determining the services and programs that shall be provided and funded from the Veterans Services Fund in 2013, approving an alternative procurement process, making awards to various providers in the total amount of $733,306 for said services and programs for the period ending June 30, 2014, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreements, contracts, and other documents consistent with said awards in this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective. And this is for the providers and the dollar amounts as listed on the agenda, items 12A 1 through 8.
Go to finance. Yes, Councilman.
Name to this.
All right, please add Councilman Rogers' name to the resolution.
Yes, sir. Moving on to resolution number 2013-0087, a resolution making an award to College Now Greater Cleveland in the amount of $115,000 from the Cuyahoga County Educational Assistance Fund for Component 2 of the Cuyahoga County Educational Assistance Program for the period ending June 30, 2014, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
All right, let's go to education. Councilman Miller.
I would like my name added to this resolution.
Please add Councilman Miller's name to this resolution.
Yes, sir.
All right, item 13, consideration of an ordinance of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Ordinance number 2013-0011, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2012-0007, dated July 10, 2012, which established the Cuyahoga County Educational Assistance Program and the Cuyahoga County Educational Assistance Fund, to add additional components to the program and to authorize an alternative procurement process, creating Chapter 710 and Section 804.01 to codify said program and fund, and declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective.
I will be sending this to Mr. Rogers' Committee on Education.
Mr. President,
Councilman Miller.
same request, please.
Please add Councilman Miller's name to this resolution. Item number 14, a committee report and consideration for ordinance of an ordinance for council for second reading.
Ordinance number 2013-0002, an ordinance amending the public records policy for Cuyahoga County and declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective. Now that this item has had its second reading, it will be moved to the May 28th meeting for third reading consideration.
All right, thank you. Item 15, consideration of a resolution for first reading, adoption, or suspension of rules.
Mr. Chairman, I move we suspend the rules.
Motion being made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. We have suspended the rules. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution.
Resolution number 2013-0088, a resolution amending the 2012-2013 biennial operating budget for 2013 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations from the general fund and other funding sources, for appropriation transfers between budget accounts, and for cash transfers between budgetary funds in order to meet the budgetary needs of various county departments, offices, and agencies, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
President.
Councilman Miller.
Mr. President and my colleagues, although we authorized passage under suspension, I would like to actually request that this item be referred to committee. This resolution contains a number of items. In fact, most of the items that relate to the general fund and the Health and Human Services Levy Fund were designated as items that are recommended based on the administration's first quarter review. And the first quarter review has not been presented to the council or the Finance and Budget Committee yet, and that's expected at our next meeting. So I think it would not be good for us to pass this resolution until we've heard the first quarter review on which the proposals are based. Thank you.
If that's a motion, I'll second.
It's a request to the President.
The resolution will be referred to the Finance Committee. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Item number 16, consideration of a resolution for first reading adoption under suspension of rules. This is I shouldn't even have read that, actually. We're gonna be looking at this in executive session, so we'll skip by that. Item number 17, consideration of resolutions for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution number 2013-0090, a resolution authorizing a downtown development fund loan in the amount not to exceed $1,500,000 to 1717 East 9th LLC for acquisition, renovation, construction, and conversion of the East Ohio Gas Building and parking garage to a mixed-use residential complex, authorizing the Deputy Chief of Staff of Development or Director of Development to execute all documents consistent with said loan and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This resolution will be sent to Economic Development.
Resolution number 2013-0091, a resolution authorizing a downtown development fund loan in the amount not to exceed $1,500,000 to Flats East Development for construction of residential and retail components of the Flats East Bank Neighborhood Project Phase 2, authorizing the Deputy Chief of Staff of Development or Director of Development to execute all documents consistent with said loan and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This will go to Economic Development.
Resolution number 2013-0092, a resolution authorizing a downtown development fund grant in the amount not to exceed $4 million to Playhouse Square District Development Corporation for streetscape improvements, authorizing the Deputy Chief of Staff of Development or Director of Development to execute all documents consistent with said grant and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
And this will go to Economic Development. Looks like the committee's going to have its hands full. And the next item, there's been a request to withdraw this from consideration, 0093, at the request of the Fiscal Office. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, we'll withdraw this from consideration this evening.
Resolution number 2013-0094, a resolution authorizing the reversal of a 1998 parcel swap with the Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority of permanent parcel numbers 103-19002 and 103-13019, authorizing the county executive to execute all documents necessary for the conveyance of said parcels and consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This will go to Public Works.
Resolution number 2013-0095, a resolution authorizing the appropriation of real property in connection with right-of-way plans as set forth in plat number M5010 for reconfiguration of the Warrensville Center Road, Van Aken Boulevard, Chagrin Boulevard, Northfield Road intersection in the city of Shaker Heights and village of Highland Hills, directing the county executive to proceed with the acquisition of real property required for public highway purposes, authorizing the fiscal officer to issue the monetary warrant to be deposited with the probate court of Cuyahoga County in an amount that is equal to the fair market value of the property, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective. This is for parcel number 4, WD&T.
This will go to Public Works.
Resolution number 2013-0096, a resolution authorizing an amendment to contract number CE 0300-328 with Stonebridge Center for lease of office space located at 2100 Superior Viaduct, Cleveland, for the period August 1, 2003 through July 31, 2013, to extend the time period to September 30, 2014, and for additional funds in the amount of $712,141.78. Authorizing the county executive to execute the amendment and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This will go to Public Works.
Resolution number 2013-0097, a resolution making an award on requisition number 25309 to the Osborne Engineering Company in the amount not to exceed $1,289,082 for facility assessment services of the Cuyahoga County Justice Center Complex, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award in this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
And this will also go to Public Works. Councilman Jones will continue his very light schedule he's been very consistent with.
Resolution number 2013-0098, a resolution making an award and requisition number 26347 to Spectra Contract Flooring in the amount not to exceed $907,086.98 for flooring at various county buildings for the period June 1, 2013 through May 31, 2014, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award in this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Let's go to public safety.
I'm sorry,
Item-
Public Works?
Oh, is this Public Works?
Yes, sir.
I thought it was public safety. Well, it looks like you've got more work to do. This will go to Public Works. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome. Resolution number 2013-0099, a resolution authorizing an agreement with City of Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $1,958,000 for reimbursement of eligible expenses in connection with the fiscal year 2011 Urban Area Security Initiative Grant Program for the period September 1, 2011 through July 31, 2014, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Now, this goes to public safety. Item number 18, committee reports and consideration of resolutions for second reading adoption and suspension of rules.
Mr. Chairman, I move to suspend the rules.
Motion being, the suspension being moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed. Rules are suspended. Please read the motion.
Resolution number 2013-0080, a resolution declaring that public convenience and welfare requires resurfacing of Mayfield Road from the Cleveland Heights West Corporation Line to the East Corporation Line in the city of Cleveland Heights. Total estimated construction cost, $3,888,225. Finding that special assessments will neither be levied nor collected to pay for any part of the county's cost of said improvement. Authorizing the county executive to enter into an agreement of cooperation with said municipality in connection with said project, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Moved and seconded. Councilman Jones.
Mr. President, this road was last resurfaced back in 1992. It's in fair condition. Cleveland Heights initiated this resurfacing project, and the start date will be in 2014. It will be completed the same year after this legislation is approved, and Cleveland Heights also approves the necessary legislation. The county and Cleveland Heights will split the $1.7 million that is required toward this project, and $2 million will come from the urban resurfacing monies. And I recommend this for passage.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2013-0081, a resolution declaring that public convenience and welfare requires resurfacing of Monticello Boulevard from Belvoir Road to Noble Road in the city of Cleveland Heights. Total estimated construction cost, $998,350. Finding that special assessments will neither be levied nor collected to pay for any part of the county's costs of said improvement. Authorizing the county executive to enter into an agreement of cooperation with said municipality in connection with said project, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Councilman Jones.
And this project is being funded with Issue 1 OPWC dollars. It will start in 2013, this year. And in fact, you're right, it's already started. This project has started. And it's not necessarily a problem. It has already started, and I do recommend this for approval.
All right, all those in, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2013-0082, a resolution authorizing participation in the Ohio Department of Transportation Cooperative Purchasing Program for the period May 1, 2013 through April 30, 2015, in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, Section 5513.01B, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Anyone have anything on this?
Okay, all right. Well, this resolution allows us to work in cooperation with ODOT over the next 2 years and ultimately allows us to purchase certain goods and services at a cheaper rate. And I recommend it for approval.
All right, any discussion?
Mr. Chair, just an added piece, if I may, that as it stands now, we're required, this cooperative agreement is required to come back to council for approval every couple years, and we've asked as part of the committee that we change that, so it will just be automatic, and we can continue on with this cooperative arrangement. There's really no downside to that.
Thank you.
Coming back with that.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Resolution number 2013-0084, a resolution making an award on requisition number 27305 to Emerald Development and Economic Network Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $10,248,516 for administration of the Shelter Plus Care tenant-based rental assistance program in connection with the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act for the period April 10, 2013 through April 9, 2014, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award in this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
I'll move this resolution. Can I have a second?
Second.
Motion being moved and seconded. This award, which is 100% federally funded, provides rental subsidies for over 1,400 housing units in the county, funds administrative services to verify client eligibility, perform annual housing inspections, pay landlords, and respond to landlord, tenant, and neighbor concerns related to client stability. And I ask for support in this passage. All those in favor? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution is passed.
Resolution number 2013-0085, a resolution making an award on requisition number 26276 to Youth Opportunities Unlimited in the amount of $4,819,176 for the temporary assistance to needy families summer youth employment program for the period May 15, 2013 through August 31, 2013, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with said award in this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
I move the resolution. Resolution being moved and seconded. This resolution will allow for the hiring of about 2,500 youth for summer jobs throughout the county. Federal funding equals $4.6 million, with the county adding $150,000 of health and human service levy funds. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. What item are we at, Madam Clerk?
19.
I noticed that the county executive has joined us. Did you have any comments this evening?
If you insist. A couple things quickly I wanted to mention. One was a press conference that we had earlier today with Mayor Jackson and suburban police chiefs, and at the EOC, having to do with the creation of this app that is now being used through the Fusion Center, which is called iWatch Northeast Ohio. It's basically an app for your smartphone where if you have information that you may have regarding a public safety situation that you want to provide to law enforcement completely anonymously, you can do so. And it can also be used, well, first of all, it's not a replacement for 911. If you see something that's a true emergency, 911 is the appropriate way to get it to the law enforcement in an expeditious manner. But if you have information about a law enforcement situation. It's an effective and technologically easy way to do so. It can also be used for certainly non-emergency situations that are still relevant. It can also be used, they just actually augmented it so that if you have information about an animal being abused, there's a special section of the app for that as well. But I think in light of the tragic circumstances on Seymour Avenue that we heard about recently, there's this whole issue about whether or not information was provided to the police in a timely manner, or how they disposed of it, and so forth. And I think it was extra relevant in light of those events. Consistent with that, by the way, Mr. Chairman, we'll be having a press conference later this week summarizing really a missing persons, elements of a missing persons initiative that we've been working on for quite some time, which actually predates these revelations about Seymour Avenue. So we're going to be talking about those on Thursday. Some of them we have talked to council about before, so it will not necessarily be news to council. But I think, again, in light of what happened recently, it's particularly germane to what the community is dealing with right now. I would note, if it hadn't already been noted prior to me being here this evening, I do want to compliment the Sheriff's Department and some of our other county agencies for their help and assistance with that particular situation. And not everybody probably is aware, or the public may not be aware, of just how involved the Sheriff's Office was, Sheriff Bova and his team, in responding to that situation. Sheriff's Department personnel assisted with the search warrant, both in the obtaining of the search warrant and also in the execution of the search warrant. They ended up guarding the home in the hours after the incident to make sure that there wasn't any interference with the crime scene. Our medical examiner's office ended up expediting some of the forensic testing that had to be done. So I also want to let council know, this council made a decision last year to fully fund our initiative to have an impact unit to give us more flexibility to respond to these types of emergencies. They were deployed to the scene, and it's the second time in a few weeks where the impact unit, in addition to their regular duties, were deployed in an emergency situation. The first was kind of the aftermath to the Boston bombing, where there were some immediate security needs surrounding Jacobs Field. This is the second time. So I just think it reinforces the wisdom of that decision by council to augment our sheriff's department in a way that really no other sheriff's department in Ohio has that ability to respond to those types of things. They have really proven their worth. On a separate matter, we had an announcement yesterday. I know there's some things related to that on the docket, or Board of Control agenda at least, having to do with the use of the casino funds. I just want to highlight, there may have been discussion again before I arrived here this evening, but I think that the proposals that we came up with are consistent with the parameters that we outlined to council and that council agreed to. Namely, that they were the three projects being the East Ohio Gas residential project, the Playhouse Square streetscape renovation and improvement, and the East Bank of the Flats, the phase 2 of the East Bank of the Flats. First of all, they're all in the central area. They're all within that kind of boundary of from East 25th to West 25th, and from the Shoreway to the, from the Interbelt to the lake. So they're in the downtown central area. They're all transformative projects, in my opinion. They all address kind of separate elements of what we need to happen downtown to keep the momentum moving downtown, in terms of increasing the residential population downtown, which I think is very important. And also renovating a long vacant building, being the East Ohio Gas building. The Playhouse Square project, which is building off that incredible asset that we have there, and is also going to be very complementary of what we do with our new county administration building at East 9th and Prospect, and what's happening at East 9th and Euclid. And then building on the success of phase 1 of the East Bank of the Flats, and kind of revitalizing that entire area and showing that waterfront development is practical and can be successful in this area. all of these projects, by the way, what they also have in common is our share of the total project cost is tiny compared to the private investment. This is helping to make possible significant increases in private development, private capital going into downtown and keeping the momentum going. So again, I hope that, by the way, I was crystal clear at the press conference that we had that this is not this wasn't the last word on these projects being approved. These were our proposals. As you all know, there's this kind of unusual situation where even though we have a $1.3 billion budget, for some reason the $8 to $12 million of casino money seems to soak up about 80% of the conversation. The other 1.29 billion that we end up disposing of doesn't get nearly as much discussion, which is the reason that we did do it in a public way. And so we made a public statement that we thought that this was an appropriate use for those funds, and it was consistent with the conversation we've had with council. But we understand there's a legislative process, and we need to be able to substantiate our reasons for why we think that's an appropriate use for the casino money. I do anticipate that in the next 60 days or so, there will be other discussions about how we spend our public money on our economic development funds. And I don't think that we will be making presentations that will only be focused on downtown Cleveland. We do have, I think, an increasing need in the county to try to provide help, I think, particularly on infrastructure issues with some of our suburban communities. And I've been talking to some of the council people individually about ways that we could help in that manner. So although this proposal had to do with downtown Cleveland and keeping the momentum going in downtown Cleveland, I'm looking forward to presenting some proposals to the council about how we could use some of our financial resources to help some of our suburban communities as well. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you for your comments. Item number 19, consideration of an ordinance for first reading and referral to committee.
Ordinance number 2013-0012, an ordinance providing for adoption of various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan and declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective.
And this will go to Human Resources. Item number 20, consideration of an ordinance for third reading adoption. We were approached earlier today with a small amendment for this resolution, and the fact, as the chairman of the committee, we had a couple of hearings on this. We've had this for quite a while, and I'm going to send this back to committee, and not because I believe that the amendment is significant, but because the resolution is significant. It's a significant policy. A resolution that involves significant policy issues regarding the employees of Cuyahoga County, and I've certainly gotten feedback from the council about it, and so I'm going to send this back to the Health and Human Services Committee.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, since it's being sent back to committee and it was voted out of committee, what we'd have to do then is to basically give it its third reading, have it referred back to committee, and then it will come back on another agenda as a fourth reading.
Okay. Fine.
Okay, so then I will read it into the record.
All right.
Ordinance number 2013-0004, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2011-0045 as amended, which established divisions and sections within the Department of Health and Human Services to create the Office of the Director and to clarify and delineate displacement, reinstatement, and reemployment procedures, combining ordinance numbers 2011-0045 and 2012-0029 with this ordinance for purposes of codification and declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective.
All right, well, let's go back to Health and Human Services. Do we have, I'm sure we do, first miscellaneous committee reports, item number 21, starting with Mr. Greenspan.
I have miscellaneous business, but not
All right.
Mr. President and my colleagues, the Finance and Budget Committee will meet at its regularly scheduled time this coming Monday, May the 20th at 1 p.m. We're going to have at least 4 items on the agenda. The first would be the veterans legislation that was just referred, and the second would be the first quarter update on the county's finances, and the third would be the bi-monthly resolution that contains a lot of the recommendations that came out of the first quarter financial process. And the final item is the 5-year plan regarding dealing with the structural issues in health and human services funding. Since I've learned that the Economic Development Committee will not meet on that day, I cannot guarantee that this committee will end by 3 o'clock. I think we have substantial issues here that are going to take some time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the warning. Any other committee reports?
Public Safety and Justice Affairs, Tuesday, 1 o'clock.
Because Mr. Miller commented that it was going to run a little bit late on the Finance Committee, we are going to try to find the next available date, but there's a holiday on the next Monday, so we're trying to work to, we're going to match up some schedules and see if we can find the best possible date to work with the executive's office and ours. So we'll look at one of the, perhaps the 29th is the date. At least we had some discussion. I'll talk with Mr. Kelly later on after the meeting.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee will meet this Tuesday, May 21st at 10 a.m.
All right, thank you.
And the Public Works Committee will meet on Wednesday, May 22nd to deal with the items referred today.
All right, thank you very much. Now, I'm sorry, Councilman Rogers.
And the Education and Environment Committee will meet on Wednesday, the 22nd at 3 o'clock to discuss items that were referred.
Thank you. Under miscellaneous business, I believe we have a couple of councilmen who have something that they'd like to say to the council. Councilman Greenspan.
Is there someone other than myself?
Yes, there is.
I'll defer because we have material being passed out.
All right. Councilman Miller, Councilman Greenspan would prefer you go first.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. President and my colleagues. And last Tuesday, with Councilwoman Sunny Simon's help, we saw the movie Bag It, which detailed the serious harm that plastic bags and other plastics are causing to our environment and our health. Just one notable fact is that all species of sea turtles are now on the endangered species list because of ingestion of plastics. This is also a good time to remember that the month of May is Multiple Chemical Sensitivity Awareness Month here in Cuyahoga County and in many other places across the country. Last year, County Council passed Resolution 2012-0011, which designates the month of May each year as Multiple Chemical Sensitivity Awareness Month in Cuyahoga County. Here are 4 important facts about multiple chemical sensitivity. One is that it is common. Epidemiological studies show that 10 to 15% of the population has heightened sensitivity to environmental chemicals, and 2 to 5% have medically diagnosable medical chemical sensitivity disorder. Second, MCS is triggered by chemical irritants frequently encountered in everyday life. The most common of these are perfumes, deodorants, paints, coatings on outdoor fences and furniture, chemicals applied to rugs and carpets, chemicals used in office equipment, and vehicle exhausts. Third, MCS causes serious medical problems which can disable a person from work, social interaction, and routine functions of daily living. Symptoms include burning or stinging eyes, wheezing or shortness of breath, nausea, extreme fatigue, headache, poor memory, runny nose, skin rashes, sensitivity to light and noise, digestive upset, muscle and joint pain, rapid heartbeat, anxiety, and sleeping problems. And finally, there is no known cure for MCS, but public effort to reduce environmental triggers and can help prevent its occurrence and make it more manageable once it occurs. For more information, please visit the website of the Ohio Network for the Chemically Injured at www.ohionetwork.org. And I distributed a fact sheet from that website which outlines some of the environmental things that we're exposed to that we may not even know about. Also, many local libraries are making materials available in observance of MCS Awareness Month. So I encourage you to read up and learn more and help spread the word about the importance of being aware of MCS. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Miller. Councilman Greenspan.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. As this council adopted a few meetings ago, the public officials training seminar, it's actually upon us this Saturday. This is a pilot program. I'd like to draw everyone's attention to the information that was just handed out, which will be a program that will be distributed to the participants. This is, once again, a collaborative effort between Cuyahoga County Council and CSU's College of Urban Affairs, funded by the Cleveland Foundation and the Greater Cleveland Partnership, and endorsed by Mayor Wheelow and the Northeast Ohio City Council Association. So I'd like to encourage my colleagues, if they've not registered, to please attend this Saturday if you can. And I just want to read a list of the communities that will be sending delegates this Saturday. And a few of them, as I read them, you'll recognize are not in Cuyahoga County. The program scope has been expanded through CSU, and we have representatives from Geauga and Summit County that are participating and see the value in the program as well. As I read the cities, or the communities, if you don't hear one that's in your district, please reach out to them and ask them to participate. But the cities who have responded so far, the communities will be Highland Hills, South Euclid, Westlake, Woodmere, Shaker Heights, Maple Heights, Olmsted Township, Brooklyn, Fairview Park, representatives of Cuyahoga County, Parma Heights, Akron, Bay Village, Rocky River, Fairview Park, North Olmsted, Moreland Hills, Mayfield Village, Westlake, they're here twice, East Cleveland, University Heights, Warrensville Heights, Middleburg Heights, Painesville, Olmsted Falls, North Royalton, Richmond Heights, Cleveland Heights, and Cleveland. So if you didn't hear a city that's in your district, please encourage them to participate. And
I didn't hear Lindale. Did you say
Lindale's has not registered.
Thank you.
We hope they will. But
thank you very much, Councilman Greenspan. Is there any other miscellaneous business? Hearing none, is there any public comment unrelated to the agenda? Madam Clerk?
I'm sorry.
Is there any public comment
there is
unrelated
none that
to the
I am
agenda?
aware of.
Not that you're aware of. Okay, well, now we're going to be going into executive session, so I'm required to read this. All meetings of the Cuyahoga County Council are open to the public under the Ohio Open Meetings laws. Under the law, council may go into executive session during a meeting for specifically authorized purposes. During executive session, council confers outside of the hearings of the public. Council may not make any decisions about any matters in executive session. All decisions are made in public. This evening, council will go into executive session to discuss a collective bargaining matter. During this time, our live stream will be down, and we will ask those not specifically needed for the executive session to leave the council chambers. Anyone may re-enter the meeting once the executive session has ended. Is there a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of a collective bargaining matter? Motion made by Councilman Gallagher.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Schron. Will the clerk please call the roll on going into executive session?
Calling the roll to move to executive session, Mr. Germana. Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
Mr. Schron.
Yes.
Ms. Conwell. Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Ms. Simon? Mr. Greenspan? Mr. Miller? Mr. Brady?
The ayes have it. We will now go into executive session.